Greetings, everyone. I am Darth Lowry. Today we are going to use our penetration testing skills to defeat DC3. It will be fun. A walkthrough. That's what we're doing. I'm just having fun. Hopefully you're having fun today as well. But we are going to walk through DC3. We've done DC1, we've done DC2, and now that's last I did the math, carry the thing. Yeah, it's DC3. That's next. Let's get to it. Start the old scanneroo. Let's get that IP address. So if we do an Nmap, hold on. Got to make my own directory there. mkdir to make a DC-3 directory. Then we'll go to DC-3. And now we can do an Nmap. You know the drill. At this point, if you've been watching, you know exactly what to do. And we give it our network address with the CIDR notation of /24. Hopefully this doesn't take too much longer than I would like, because I'm trying to make these videos as quickly as possible for you. Keep the ball rolling. Looks like we've already got our response. There's not a lot going on in this network, so, you know, there's that. But there's our IP address. This is my IP address. And of course, these two right here are, well, that's the host of the VM server. and it's on that network. So there's that. You can't get rid of that guy. And then this is just a part of that VM network as well. All right, so that's our IP. Let's go ahead and start scanning for open ports and services. So we'll do Nmap again. This time we're going to do a -T5, and that just sets the speed of Nmap to be insane. And then we're going to do a -PN, a -P- like that, and that's going to scan all 65,535 ports to see if anything's open for business. Is there a shingle hung? If there is, great. And we've got 10.10.10.151. Cool, fire it off. And hopefully with that -T5, things go quickly. Because, all right, that did go quickly. 6.5 seconds, not bad. No, it's not too bad at all. Okay, so port 80 is the only port showing open. Okay, so sometimes when this happens, it's like, because we're at CTF land, you just gotta with CTFs. Usually when you only see one port open, it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be that's the way you go, and it's lighting the path, or it's kind of a rabbit hole for you to fall down and just keep you busy, and then you got to come back, you got to do something like a UDP scan or use a Christmas scan or some other type of scan to actually find the open ports and serve. It can get really weird. I hate when that happens, because then, anyway, so let's go after it as if this is because what else can we do, right? We just got to go after port 80. So let's get a deep scan going on there, learn about what is the version, what's the operating system of the host device. Let's do some default scripts vulnerability. And we're going to do that with a -A. So Nmap -A. And that capitalization does matter, by the way. You can't just throw it a -A and it goes, oh, I know what you meant. It doesn't work like that. Not Nmap. Do a -T5. I'm going to do a -PN. That's so that it doesn't ping the host and waste time doing that. We know it's alive. And then -P for port 80. I'm also going to give it port 81. And that way it can kind of help. It likes to have an open and close port when it does OS enumeration. All right, our host is 10.10.10.151. Got a little crazy with the 10 dots there for a second. And then, yeah, that's good. I will save this one. -O to deepscan.nmap. Fire it off. And we wait. This is what we do. We spend half of our lives waiting for computers to compute. How many times have you fired off a scan or done something and you're like, I guess I'll go watch YouTube now? Because you're just like, this is going to take a minute. There it goes. Well, that wasn't too bad. All right, it does show that 81 is closed. Whoa there, Daniel. I got nuts. I got real nuts. There it is. No, there it is. 81 is closed, but port 80 is open. Looks like we got ourselves a Joomla site going on. That could be good. That's definitely a way to get into things if it is, garbage or old or whatever the case is, got a known vulnerability. Joomla is just a CMS, a content management system, similar to things like WordPress, where you use it to build websites that are dynamic and interactive. So that looks like we could also look and see if Apache 2.4.18, looks like Ubuntu might be our flavor of choice when it comes to the actual host device. running around kernel 3 or 4x. What is its thoughts on this? It looks like it's between 3.2 and 4.14, or 3.8 and 3.16. Makes me feel like it's a 3, a kernel in the 3x area, but we'll see. Hopefully we get in and we'll figure that out. All right, then, what is the next thing we need to do? Well, if it's got this Joomla thing, there's this fun tool. I typically install it when I get a fresh Kali because it's one of those things that I like to have on the back burner, which is Joomscan. So if you do apt search Joomscan, and you can see I've got it installed, but it's right there. It's an OWASP Joomla vulnerability scanner project. So it's just a really good place to start when you got yourself a Joomla instance. It is getting a header that says Joomla open source content management. I mean, that seems pretty legit. So let's go with it. Let's just Joomscan this thing. So if you've never used Joomscan before, no big deal. Joomscan --help. Get all the help stuff. So we're going to be a -u for the URL, and we're going to do a -ec to enumerate components. Sometimes you'll need to add the cookie. If you're really trying to be, if you're really trying to pen test stuff, you might want to change the user agent string to be something that's, it might show up as Joomscan version blah 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 in the user agent string, and that might be being blocked. So you could go out to the interwebs, find out what the latest version of Chrome is or whatever, and you can change it to that. You can change it to a random agent. That could be good. Maybe I'll do that. That could be fun. If you're using a proxy, you've got that capability as well. Pretty straightforward tool, honestly. But let's see what it gets us. We'll just use some straightforward stuff. So Joomscan, and we are going to go with -u for the URL, which is http:// was it 10.10.10.151, and then we do -ec for enumerate components. Give it heck. Looks like we're getting some stuff. It's enumerating some components. Good job. Got a report left too. I forgot it does that. Reports. It's under reports. Good to know. So if you need to come back and read this stuff, you don't have to leave it up on the screen. But yeah, so I'm going to kind of scroll to the top of this thing and work our way down. All right, Joomscan. Good stuff, Joomscan. Firewall not detected. We've got a version. I like that. So that's going to be a good finding right there. Joomla 370. We've got some default directory listing here at /administrator, components, modules, templates. Then we got image banners. So we could go and look at these things because it is actually listing the contents of each one of those directories. Not a good idea. Core Joomla vulnerability. It says target Joomla core is not vulnerable. Okay, cool. Shows us where the admin page is. We've got Apache info status, but those files were not found. There's no robots.txt file. There's no backup files. There's no error log files. There's no readable config files. Really leaving us on the floor here. We do have some components. And that's what they call it's like a plugin or a theme or something. There's the components. So we've got Ajax, banners, Bible study. Interesting. And it says right here, Joomla component Bible study 150 has a SQL injection exploit. So maybe that's a good finding right there. Interesting. It says we found the component Bible study, but since the component version was not available, we cannot ensure that it is vulnerable. Please test it yourself. The good news is it gave us a couple of links to ExploitDB. So here's one for 5710, 44.159, so on and so forth. Some of these, so that's good findings. We might want to, if we were, taking notes on this, we might actually want to slap that stuff in a file somewhere, some screenshots if we were doing a real pen test. That would be all good things. But let's start at the top because let's just see what is vulnerable when it comes to the version. Even though it says Joomla core is not vulnerable, that doesn't mean there's not something associated with that specific version. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to open a new directory. I'm going to do a bit of that. I'm going to cd into, tests and DC-3 just to keep things consistent. I'm going to run search exploit for Joomla, 3.7.0. And let's just see what we get. Let's just go for it. Okay, two things. We've got this one right here, which is an exact match for ComField's SQL injection. Cool stuff. And then this component, easy discuss. So anything less than 401 has this cross-site scripting vulnerability. I feel like cross-site scripting is not going to be what we're looking for, but a SQL injection could very well give us some great stuff. So let's open that and see what it says. Maybe there's great information in there that we can use. So that is going to be, I'm going to use Mousepad because that is the default text editor in Kali. And I'll do, where's it at? User share, exploit DB, exploits, PHP, web apps, 42033.txt, 42033.txt. So it's a text file. That makes me think it's not like a script we run, but just information about the vulnerability. And there it is. Okay, SQL injection. What's going on here? Exploit author is Mateus Lino, version 3.7.0, tested on Win, Kali, blah, blah, blah. Ubuntu. Hey, we're working on an Ubuntu. There's the exact CVE. So if we need to get more information about that, it says the URL is vulnerable here, like this thing. And I can see this %27 right there. That is the URL encoded single quote, which is the telltale, hey, this is how we tried to test for SQL injection, is using that. So I'm going to copy this. Let's just see if this works. Let's copy. Let's go over here. Let's open the browser. And I think we're going to have to do some modification on that. Paste and go. No, not paste and go. Daniel, you idiot. I'm a moron. It's not HTTPS. It was port 80, so it's just regular HTTP. It's not running on localhost. It's running on 10.10.10.151 / index option, so on and so forth. Let's try that one. Okay, so it did take us to a site, but it says the requested page can't be found. An error has occurred while processing your request. You may be able, and the error is the fact that this cannot be found. Hold on, no. Ho. Oh, what's that say? You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to MySQL server version for the right syntax near this at line 9. So that's a server-side error. That's that 500 right there that you see, letting us know that that actually did work. This is an error-based SQL injection. We could start like really fleshing this out and kind of doing all that stuff. But let's go back because I think I saw a SQLmap. Yeah. Let's just automate this process with SQLmap. We don't spend all our time manually SQL injecting when we can just follow the bouncing ball right here and see what SQLmap has for us. Oh, SQLmap, my SQLmap. I'm going to copy you and wait for it. Is this where we're going? No, we're going to leave that there. Go here. And we'll run SQLmap. Yay. Give it a couple of these bad boys right there. Shift-Control-V to paste it in. Of course, we got to do a little bit of changing things. Actually, Control-A will jump you to the front of the line, like the beginning of your command line. And I'm going to change this from HTTP localhost to our actual IP of our target, to 151. Okay, everything else looks pretty good there. So just for those of you following at home, we have -u, which is telling us this is the URL that we are going for. We have these -- risk and level, and that's the risks that it's willing to take and the level of aggressiveness that it's going to go after. We're using a random agent. So again, going with random agents, user agents. Tell me what the backend database is. That's that --DBS. And I think the -p is the parameter that we're going after, which is list full ordering. Cool. If all goes well, and it should, because we already saw that we are getting error. We were successfully able to inject SQL. So this should work. All right, we're getting this thing about setting cookies. Oh, it just wants me to grab a cookie. So if you hit enter, the default is Y on this. You can see that's a capital Y there. Bam, go for it. Booyah. It did the thing. Awesome. Excelente. So we've got, resumed. I ran this earlier and it did. So I knew this would work, but it's still a good following here. So we got these different things. We got these databases. We got 5 of them. Information schema, Joomla DB, MySQL, performance schema, and sys. So I say we start with Joomla DB, shall we? To do that, we are going to go back up here. We are going to take off this --dbs. Let's remove that. We want the -p. That's still good. You know what I'm going to do, because my head is hiding a little bit of this? I'll do that right there. Haha. Now you can see everything that I'm typing. And me at the same time. All right, so what are we going to do here? We're going to do a -D for the database. So we're going to name the database we want to go after, which was Joomla DB right there. So easy peasy. So we just Joomla DB. Love overscrolling. It is so much fun. And then we're going to do --tables, because I want to see what tables are in that database. Fire. Yes, give me the cookie. It's fine. And there we go. It discovered these lovely things. I already see one right there. It says #__users. Looks like a great place to start. So that is a table that I would love to see what's inside of. Again, just push up. We're going to change this from --tables to --T of, what is that? Octothorpe ___ users. And then do --columns, like so. All right, like I said, I ran this before just getting ready for this episode. So it speeds things up for the demo for us. You don't have to sit here and wait for this thing to go. But I do this --columns. It should tell me the name of every column in that database. Oh, man, I forgot about this. Is a fun one right here. And really good information for you good folks out there that have never done this before. You see, this -T option requires 1 argument. But we gave it an argument, right? There it is right there. It's #__ users. That's the name of our table, right? So you're on a command line, kids, and that hashtag typically gets interpreted as a special character. If we want to negate the specialness of its characterness, \. Now, fire it off. You'll notice that we're not getting that anymore. You're getting a, do you want to use those cookies? Yes, I'll use the cookies. And now it's telling us, hey, I'm unable to retrieve the column names for this table in the database Joomla DB. Do you want me to use column name existence check? So it's going to basically try to brute force. Do you want to attempt to brute force this? Its default is no, but I actually do. So I'm going to put a lowercase y right there, right? Fire that off. We get 2 different options going with the defaults. Common columns, and it's under user share, SQLmap data text common columns.txt. If that's what we want to do, we just press enter. Or we can give it a custom list if we want. That's cool. I'm going to go with the default just to see what's up. Press enter. It says that adding words used on a web page, please enter the number of threads. Enter 1 for, yeah, that's fine. We'll go with 1. That sounds good. And there it goes. It's retrieving. It did find like ID, name, username, email, password. And here's where we just kind of like hang out for a second because it's brute forcing its way through column names. I got a nice tea, a little hot tea for this morning. Keeps the old pipes ready to rock. The golden pipes. I get a lot of compliments about my voice. It's funny. You never think about it. And then you hear yourself and you're like, ooh, I hate the way I sound. But apparently I have a nice voice. That's what people tell me anyway. I don't have a lot of nice everything else, so I'll take it, right? All right, here we are. We've got name, we've got email, we've got ID, we've got params, we've got password and username. So now I want to get the information that is in these columns. And we do that with more SQLmap action. And we're going to just change this from -- columns to -C and then give it a comma separated value names of things that I want. So I'm going to want name, email. I don't care about ID necessarily. Maybe I go for it. Why not? So I'm going to get name, email, ID, password, and username. Heck, we'll go for it all. Let's just grab the whole kit and caboodle. Why not? Let's do name, email, ID, params, password, username. All right, and then we're going to do -- dump so that it dumps the contents of that stuff onto the screen. Fire it off. Give me a cookie. I like cookies. Okay, lots of stuff. Kind of. It's one entry. It says right there. And, you're like, whoa, Daniel, that's kind of like jumbled up and weird. It's just because I've got the font size a little too. If I did this, right? Now it's nice and pretty and formatted, but you can't see it. It's very, very difficult to see. I guess I could just scroll in, but it gets super pixelated. I don't know if you can see that. It says admin is the name, Freddie at norealaddress.net. ID is 629. Here's the params. It's some JSON, admin style, admin language, help site, time zone. Hey, look, there's a password hash right there. We do love a good password hash, don't we? And then the username is admin. So we're about to straight up crack some passwordage. We've actually come a long way. We're doing fairly well off of the very first thing that we looked at. We could have went down that whole Bible study. It was, maybe it's a rabbit hole, maybe it's another vector. That would have been cool. If we were doing really pen testing stuff, those would all be findings. Remember, pen testing isn't about necessarily getting root on a machine. It's about finding as many vulnerabilities that are critical to your client's business as possible. Something that might be like, hey, you need to go fix this. This is a bad thing. These are informational things that you're leaking out to the public that may have sensitive information in it. That's the kind of stuff that you want to grab. So just because we're doing a CTF doesn't mean we don't have to keep pen testing in mind, right? So just remember that. All right, let's scroll out of this business. We'll get a human readable format yet again. And we're going to go grab this lovely, lovely password hash, copy. And we're going to go to the interwebs because I don't know what kind of password hash that is. It looks like a Unix type password because of the $2 thing going on. That's very Unixy, but I don't know what kind it is. So I'm going to go here and just in Google type in hash identifier. And look, hash type identifier, hashes.com. I typically have very good success with this. It's a great tool. So paste that in, hit submit and identify, and there we go. We get possible algorithms, bcrypt, blowfish, Unix. Okay, so it's a bcrypt algorithm. Good to know, maybe using blowfish. All right, so now that we have that, we need to head back here and not there, here. And let's create a hash file. And the username was admin, so we'll use the standard nomenclature for that. So we'll nano Joomcreds, Joomcreds, or just call it hash, right? Joom hash. I like it. Joomla hash, Joomla.hash. Oh, there we go. I like to be as descriptive as possible. I'm not very good at it off the dome. So it's admin : and then paste in the password hash. Control S, Control X. And now let's see what John the Ripper can do for us. So we'll do John -- list equals formats. I'm going to pipe that to grep and look for bcrypt to see. Yeah, we're good to go. So bcrypt is what we want to use. If not, we'll check. And does it have blowfish? Blowfish. I don't see that. Maybe it's capital B blowfish. No, so if it's blowfish, we might have to move to hashcat. But John the Ripper is a very beloved and well tried and true tool for these type of things. So I'll do John -- formats equals bcrypt, and then we'll do -- word list equals, I'm going to use rocku.txt, which is in Kali. And you do need to unzip it if you haven't already. You'll have to go unzip it. But once you do, you'll just have rocku.txt. So it's in user share word lists, and it's rocku.txt. Like that. Then give it our hash file, which is Joomla hash, Joomla.hash. Fire it off. And it's done. Cool. Cracked the password. Booyah. Snoopage is the admin on this. Now, again, keeping pen testing in mind, guess what that probably gives us access to? the actual Joomla instance, and we will be logging in as admin. So this is all findings. This will be take screenshots, making very detailed notes so that when you write that attack narrative, everything looks good, and you'll be able to like fairly well have those findings at the top of your report. The executive summary should play out really easily because you have all your notes there. I'm not taking notes for the sake of time, but hey, we're doing stuff, right? We got ourselves a password. We got the password. Cool. So Snoopy and admin, let's actually like put that somewhere. We'll call it, let's create a file called users. So we'll nano users.txt and we'll do admin, Control S, Control X, there we go. And then we'll nano, actually we could just echo to do this, echo Snoopy into password.txt. Yeah, that looks good. And you have to, Daniel, it really helps when you do the right thing, which is that. You got to do the redirector. I was looking at that going, that looks weird. That looks a little strange. Doesn't really look right. And now you can cats password.txt and you see Snoopy's in there. But cool, let's go get logged in. Where did we put that? Yes, there it is. Cool. I think it said, if I'm remembering correctly, back from our scans, it's going to be at http://1010.151/administrator. Administrator. Yep, there it is. Admin Snoopy. Look at that. Okay, so we're in. We are the admin. What can we do? What can we do here? Let's take a look at things. I mean, this is a big finding in and of itself. So the next thing we do, create an article. We can look at articles. We can look at categories and media. There's menus and modules. What are modules? Okay. Breadcrumbs. Interesting. Let's go back. I wonder if I can do something like, so on WordPress, they have themes and plugins. And in the themes, it's usually like, I'm pretty, as you can see right there, this is a PHP page, right? Index.php. So that's what Joomla does, right? It's basically building websites using PHP. WordPress does the same thing. And in WordPress, if you get into the themes, they're all just made up of PHP pages. I can create PHP pages. So that's what I want to do. I wonder, like, where is the, is it under templates? Okay, so there are some templates here. Let's go look at, like, is that the template? Okay, yeah. Let's go look at this Bees 3 one. Get out of my way. Thank you. And then, yep, look, see, component.php, error.php, index.php, JSstrings.php, and so on and so forth. There's an XML page and some PNGs, but we have PHP files here. And one of the things we can do is just change that, right? So we could come in here and say, see how this is all PHP stuff for this error.php page? I can change that. I could even add a new file, it said, right? Didn't it have that capability? New file right there. So let's do it. Let's create a new file. Oh, wait, I don't know if okay, what is that going to tell me? HTML. Okay, it's just it says tell me where to create or upload a new file. Ooh, file uploads. File uploads. Where do we want this to be? I really don't know the layout of this site very well. It's just under HTML, I guess. There's all these COM areas. I have my own PHP backdoor that I created many moons ago, but it's still very useful for things just like this. So, can I just put it in, like, where is it putting it to? That's what I don't see. It's asking me, is it under HTML? Right? That's where I'm That's where I'm getting a little confused here with this uploader. I don't really like it very much, honestly. So if I do HTML, it's a little confusing. Well, let's go grab my web shell, and that's at GitHub. So github.com/Daniel Lowry. And in here, go to my repositories and there it is right there, web shell v1. Booyah. And I just call it x.php because it makes life easy. I'll just click on this. I will just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to copy. Let's go to raw. I want to copy the code, Control A, Control C to copy that. Go back here. I'm not going to mess with all this file upload business. We've already got files. So I'm going to go with error.php. So now here, I'm going to Control A to select everything and Control V in my PHP backdoor. Because there it is, right? Shell exec doing all sorts of fun stuff, right? So now I will save and close right there. Cool. Now, where does it save it at? Bees 3. Where's Bees 3? Joomla Bees 3 file directory. Files directory. Where is that hiding? It's in templates Bees 3. Cool. So we should be able to go to templates Bees 3 and get my shell, which is at error.php at this point. Okay. So http://10.10.10.151 or whatever your IP is for yours if you're following the bouncing ball. And we're going to go to templates. Was it template or templates? Templates Bees 3. Templates /beez3/error.php. And there is my web shell. Yay! I like web shells. I like them so much. They are fun. Got this a little too big, but there's my whole web shell right there. And now I can just run commands as I very well please. Isn't that nice? Don't you love it? Is that not fun? So if I wanted to, I can see I've already got a few things running here. Like it's showing me uname right around that region. So I do see that we are running DC3. This is 4.4.021 generic on Ubuntu. And cool. It is 386 hardware, i686 right there. So it's not x64. That's good to know because you got to get your architectures correct. And then here's just some information about the file system. We also have who I'm logged in as, which is www.data, which is typically the user we use when it comes to getting into a web application. It's running Apache and things of that nature. Okay, so at this point, like I said, I can run commands. I can do like an ls, make it so. And there are all the files right around this region. Bing. Okay, so with this, normally this is where I'd make some janky netcat connection, but let's have more fun. Let's have a little more fun with this. Let's go with a C2. And everyone's favorite C2 right now happens to be Sliver, so we'll use Sliver. How's that sound? Doesn't that sound fun? We're going to do some Sliver action. Whoa. Hey there, everyone. We're going to pause the video right here. Go ahead and put the end to it on this episode. We'll pick up. It was getting long. It was a long video, and it's just a little too long. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we'll have a part 2 coming up hopefully next week for you. So sorry that I'm kind of cutting you off right as the story gets really good, but that should whet your appetite for next week's installment. So hopefully you'll see you there. Until next time, you know what to do. Keep hacking.